Hello, ladies and gents. Here I am with a blast from the past. What you're about to listen to is the first ever episode that Pringle and I recorded back in July of 2020. This was back when the MacSplicer Podcast was on the main channel. And just to set this podcast up a bit, this was during the FGC takedown. So to paint you a picture, it is pretty much the infancy still of COVID, in the US at least. And it came during a time when the FGC was going through a really rough time as far as allegations, both against Mr. Wizard, and he was getting taken down. And then you had a bunch of other people in the FGC doing some naughty things and getting canceled. And Mike Z, who at the time was the lead director at Lab Zero Games and one of the heads for Skullgirls, was also in the news, pretty much in the middle of it, because he got entangled with a bunch of different things, especially on Twitter. And overall, I think it was a terrible time for the FGC. It felt weird. And this was, to be honest, in my opinion, the beginning of the end, at least for me. This was, I think, 2 years in the making where I was like, I think I need to step away from this community. But anyway, this podcast is not about me. This podcast is about Pringle and I back in 2020 talking about all the FGC madness that happened back in the summer of 2020, a summer to remember. So anyway, hopefully you enjoy this blast from the past, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, and one last thing. I know the audio is kind of trash. I mean, I had a crappy mic. It was fading away. Shoutouts to the Blue Yeti. It lasted for like 7 years. And yeah, that was towards the end of the lifespan of that good old Blue Yeti. So yeah, it sucks. But listen, I never said I was a pro podcaster. And even now, I'm not a pro podcaster, but just my mic sounds a little bit better. So anyway, enjoy the podcast, and I'll see you all later.
Yeah, man, I've always been listening to your podcast. It's like the one thing, since I go like grocery shopping, I'll listen to your podcast, and it's like the perfect thing for me to go grocery shopping to, because I hate hearing little kids screaming at the top of their lungs, people screaming this, that, and I'm like, man, I hate Walmart, man.
Man, I feel the same.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, podcasts save you from, just the mundane things that you do in life, like standing at the DMV or something like that.
Yeah, especially since there's not so many of them either. So yeah, I'm fighting game related stuff. So it's like, yeah, damn.
I think I said that, not
yeah, man. Stay free,
like
bro.
Yeah, there's like 4. If you ain't listening to me, you're listening to either like a podcast that doesn't record every week or a podcast that sucks ass. Like,
yeah, man, it really is.
I'm all really you got.
Much, you'll get it that way. That's the one way.
Yeah, I'm going to corner the market by virtue of them not having any competition.
That's the best. Yeah, that's the best way to win, man. By default.
Yeah, by default. But yeah, man. So I've seen you down in the YouTube comments whenever I've recorded anything for a long time. I think you're actually one of my longest subs on YouTube.
Yeah, man, I've been there for a minute, man. Yeah, you're almost gonna get 10,000. That's great, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That milestone.
But you're like OG. I think you're like the first 100, if I'm not mistaken, honestly. So
I don't think it's been that long, has it?
Yeah, I actually, like, if you check the tapes, yeah, like you've been there.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, so it's going on almost 4 years now. But you know what? You have also like a really interesting backstory that I never really had a chance to ask you, because we never had a chance to do something like this. But, you've also, did YouTube and content creation, and, you were a part of this grind, years ago. And
yeah, man. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, your history with all that.
Oh, dude. So like, in the beginning, so there's a little bit even further back we go. I was a Marine at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I was in the Marine Corps for just a normal 4 years. And then from there, I really wanted to try doing the YouTube, because I saw so much skit channels. Like there was like Dashy, T-Pendle, all these funny skit channels. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to try doing skit channels at the time I started, or do like a gaming type of thing. And then I started doing more and more, and I got really, really into it. And then after a while, after about, I'd say a year or two, I ended up getting kind of picked up from like Planet Dolan. And then I started doing voice work from them. And then they started really helping up my channel. It was like a huge surge of people coming in. And it was really a great time. I think this was like, we're looking at like 2 years ago, like 2018, 2017. I think I stopped like a year or two ago, because I just started not liking it as much. But especially with how YouTube's been, that algorithm, I don't know what's going on with the algorithm, but it really does kind of
rough.
Yeah, man, it's one of those cases where I don't know if the algorithm is supposed to help people or it's supposed to kind of like check them and screw them over. So as soon as I started noticing more and more of that stuff, I kind of just stopped sooner or later. I think I stopped when I was at like 43,000, but I was grinding like really hardcore doing that stuff. I was doing Twitch, I was doing YouTube, I was playing so damn much video games. I played all kinds of video games I never played. I got so into different video games just from doing more YouTube, which I think was really cool because I'm really just a deep JRPG turn-based. We talking Dragon Quest hardcore ass fan. Like I just want to sit there, get level 99 and put 100 plus hours on each game. I told myself that if a game didn't have 100 plus hours, it wasn't even worth it.
Oh man.
So I got so I got super deep into it, especially before, because in the Marine Corps, around that time, I played a lot of those kind of games, and they took a lot of my time, which really helped because sometimes at a certain point when I was in the Marine Corps, I didn't really have a lot of time. But in the beginning, I had a bit more time once I finished all the training and stuff like that. But then afterwards, I got to a point where I would just come from work and I'm like, I just want to go to sleep, man. I'd come from work, you go in there like at probably you'd have like some ridiculous time where you got to go up at like 4 o'clock, exercise, 4 a.m. in the morning, man. The crack a damn morning.
Yeah.
Wake up. Yeah, man. Wake up 4 o'clock, train for an hour, and then you would go you'd eat. And you would only have like 30 minutes to eat, shower, shave, do all that stuff. Then you get to work like around 6:30ish, 7 o'clock. And then you spend almost another, I'd say just pretty much 12 hours working straight. And then you get home and you're like, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, no
I just want to watch One Piece all day.
That's a time commitment right there.
It's like 800 episodes.
Oh man, I quit. I quit around 350, I think.
Dude, that's a commitment by itself, man.
It's rough. It's rough. One day I keep telling myself I'll go back, but I don't know if that's. I don't know if I'll be.
Dude, it's so good. I mean,
it really is.
It got a lot better because what the issue with the anime is that it gets too close to the manga. But then after, I think around episode, I think like where it's at right now is probably where the animation has been its highest. Where I'm just like, whoa, it's the Samurai Country, the Wano arc, and it's like everybody talks about it. And then I'm watching and I was like, whoa, but it really does have the struggles of like just being too close to the manga. And then the episodes are so short later down. So that's why the episodes there's so many episodes. The episode would be like 5 minutes of opening.
Yeah. No
then another 5 minutes of a recap. And then you got 10 minutes of stories. And then they hit you with the boom on the neck. And then it's like, all right, the next episode. This episode is over.
That's like, better than filler, though. Like, you ever watch Bleach? Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh, man. The filler arcs of Bleach. The problem with Bleach filler arcs is that they had no correlation to anything happening in the show. Yeah, man.
I was like, what happened? Like, there was because I remember at the beginning of Bleach, like there was this awesome continuation of the storyline, and then you get to the Bount arc, and I was like, what is this? What happened?
The Bount arc was pretty much them doodle in your mouth. Because the Zanpakuto is pretty bad too, but the beginning with the Soul Society arc is
so good.
One of the best. Yeah, it is one of the best. They set it up so well. The first couple of episodes of Bleach,
I was invested.
Are so different. Invested. Yeah, man, it's super different than like anything the rest of Bleach is. So that definitely,
And then at the end, like the weird art style change, I was just like, what?
Yeah. The end was really weird to the anime. Yeah. I mean, the end, they didn't have to extend it to a certain point because they did extend it to this part where Ichigo doesn't have like the Zanpakuto powers or the Soul Reaper powers or whatever, and then he gets a different kind. And that whole arc was pretty much like unnecessary.
Yeah, it was stupid. It really was. Like, it's too bad too because like Bleach has like for characters, it has one of like the most interesting characters in anime or manga that I remember, and they did them a disservice really. So it was
man. I mean, Aizen, I'd say is probably one of like the best well-made characters out there, where it's like this guy that's trustworthy, and then he's actually like this psychopathic, narcissistic monster.
Yeah,
and you know what I'm saying. And he's like, it's a perfect setting that they were able to just capture, but then they really did fall off with all the arcs, the filler arcs.
Yeah.
And Naruto does the same thing, the big three, I guess they call them. But yeah, that's what I like about One Piece, though. They don't really, the fillers that were in One Piece too, they were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were actually pretty fun. And I think that's what you kind of want in a filler. Like it makes sense to just have a filler that is fun instead of like one that's completely devoid of like anything. And then the filler goes for like 60 plus episodes. And then you're like, all right, man, when are we getting the real story?
Yeah. Well, the thing with One Piece is that the only problem I have with One Piece is that it's a commitment. But when it comes to quality, like I don't have any problem with the quality. Like I think it's dope. It's just I can't sit down and actually watch it.
It's so long, dude. Yeah, man. It's really long. I got sucked in, man. I started watching the first couple of episodes and I was like, all right, man. I guess I got another 2 years of my life to just
right.
But it definitely is a commitment. And you just reminded me, I think they're even remaking Bleach or something like that. They're gonna make like something. I know they're making some sort of anime adaptation, maybe from the manga's perspective or something for Bleach. But I remember hearing something along the lines. But I haven't really been watching much anime at all. I've just been kind of playing video games.
Right. It's probably just another excuse to make 14 other gacha games, you know.
the pachinko game is real, man.
Man.
The gacha and pachinko, man. The Japanese people love that stuff, dude. They just sit there all day, just hitting that lotto, basically.
Oh yeah, man. They love it. I mean, and it's coming here too, man. I was just like, what are y'all doing? Like,
yeah. They're starting to basically. It's like forcing their way into the American market when it comes to that kind of video game, because it's happening like everywhere.
And man, I enjoyed my time. I played Bleach Brave Souls for like 2 weeks. I was like, all right, this is cool, but like I'm not spending like money on the shit. And like I love KOF, but like I played KOF All-Star for like I don't know, maybe like a week, and I was like, all right, it's fine, but it's not like something I'm gonna devote my whole gaming time to. It's just like it's okay, like it's fun.
It's definitely, and it's wild because I've seen people that are super into those, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there was stories I think that came from Japan of a man that played. You ever heard of Grand Blue? You probably heard of that game, right? The mobile one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! There's people that spend thousands of dollars on just Grand Blue
for sure.
It's like that's not even like fun. That's addiction, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's like I gotta get that new character. I'm like, God, I remember when I kind of was like that when it came to like video games at a certain point. But then it's like if my mom told me, nah, we ain't got the money to buy that, I wasn't getting it, you know.
Right. Well, we took a little tangent there. Well, you know, obviously, if you listen to the podcast, you know I love asking people this to come on. But your handle or your name origin, I have to know where PringleTheOne comes from.
Oh, so this one's I actually made it when I was like, I think like 14. What was the time? I think YouTube was kind of being a thing around 2006. So about 14 years ago was like 14 because I'm like 28. So like. Yeah, so I made the name and I didn't have like caps or anything. I just made the name. I was like PringleTheOne. And I just made that name because I wanted an account just so I could watch like Ranma on YouTube. Because like, just like I watch anime. Yeah. So I just wanted to be able to watch anime. And then like at that time, it got really anime was a really big thing in YouTube because of the fact that it started kind of taking off. But then a lot of AMVs were a thing, and every AMV always had Linkin Park music, and it was always the Naruto versus Sasuke fight. And I was loving that stuff, dude. I love that crap. I was like, it starts right here, and then you just see Naruto versus Sasuke, and I was like, yes,
that was a hype fight. That was a hype fight.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty dope, man. Amazingly.
I actually like the Naruto Sasuke fight, the first one. I like it better than the second one.
Yeah, I didn't even see much of the second one. I saw little bits of it, but it was so hard to like even bother with that anime afterwards.
But then fighting on water and shit, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that was so dope, man. There was a kid in my school. His name was Sylvester, man. He would do the Naruto run, bro.
Oh man, hand behind the back.
I knew. Yeah, he did. Or you call it the Sonic run. He would put them arms back and he would just run. And he swear that he ran faster doing that. I was like, dude, you ain't gonna run faster doing that, man.
Yeah.
But so I made the name just out of like pure coincidence, really. And then as I made, like when I got really into YouTube and I started making, I was like, why don't I just keep that name? Because I was thinking of different names, and I was like, why don't I just keep that name? Also, the funny thing is Pringle is my last name. So
sweet.
Yeah. So I was pretty much like, when I was in the Marine Corps, everybody would just call me Pringle. One time I even got like one of those drill instructors. They made fun of me, and they were like, I guess it's true. I guess the fun don't stop, huh? Once you pop it. stuff. And I was like, man, but that it actually comes from my name. So then I was like, well, I'm the one, and I just started adding it that like I'm the one that I'm Pringle_the_one. So I'm the one that's always like, hey, that's Pringle. So I was like Pringle_the_one, and then I just kind of kept it from there. I didn't think that people would like the name though. Like at the time, I hated my last name. So especially when I was young, I really, really hated the name because people would make fun of it every time. He's like, oh, I guess, are you rich? And I'm like, no, man, if I was rich, I wouldn't be here. Trust me, man. I wouldn't be in a public school, man. I would not be here. But the last name was like one of the things I was like, well, let me just connect it to what's there. And bam, like I just kept the name from here. And it really stuck by. And then the never give up part is just something I added, like where I feel like I never can give up in life and in video games and anything. I just got to keep going. So I just kept it there as a reminder to myself to never give up.
Nice, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, man.
And so on the fighting game side, how did you get into fighting games?
Oh man, dude. So I think sadly my life was online. I didn't really play much arcade games because I was pretty introverted kid, so I didn't go out my way to hang out with people, man. I hang out with like one friend and that was it, dude. And that felt like a lot sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So I started playing online. I think the game I started playing first was like Skullgirls. I played Skullgirls first. So I was already into like good netcode, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're OG in the
man.
rollback.
So, yeah, dude. I was already getting used to GGPO, man. I played Skullgirls, but I played multiple fighting games. So I played Skullgirls. I played Darkstalkers on Fightcade, which was really fun in the beginning. And I played, one of your favorites. I played Persona, man. Oh, dude. I love Persona Ultimax. That game is so sick, man.
I love it.
Dude, I don't know what that game because it reminds me a little bit of how Wild Skullgirls is in that sense, except it's not like reset heavy. But even then, there are people that still sometimes throw out they drop combos just so you could do resets and stuff like that. So, like, man, Persona, I really, really liked it. I didn't even know back then about like how bad netcode is because I was still starting out playing fighting games. So when I played recently, I think it was like a year ago, I played a buddy that I used to play all the time when I first started playing Persona back around like, I think like 2016 is when I really, 2017, 18 around there. I really got into fighting games. I played him for a bit and he was from Mexico. And before, man, I thought he was really good. He's really, really good player, man. He could play Rize, Yukari. This dude could play all these characters really freaking good, man. Margaret, not Margaret. Margaret's that's the one you don't want to play.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, that's the one that's the low tier one right there.
Yeah. She's the white one. Margaret.
That's the one. That's the real one. Margaret's cool, but no one likes fighting.
No.
He used to be able to play these characters, and it wasn't until recently that I played him that I was like, oh my God, I played on this, man. Delay feels horrible, man.
Terrible.
Horrible. Feels like you're just playing in sand and dirt and water, man.
Who did you play in Persona?
Oh, Persona, I was let me see. I played a lot of Chie, man. Rize and Chie, and I would alternate between them.
Nice. But
I really liked Rize. Rize is really dope. I never got the one thing that was funny is I could never get that mini game for some reason. It's so slow, but it's kind of hard.
the rhythm super?
Yeah, the rhythm mini game she has in the move. I forgot what it's called, but one where she just drops the mic on the person and that's on the other one. The one where she gets the speakers around them and then you have to kind of get the rhythm game. Yeah, I played her and then I played Chie. I played Chie a lot more. Chie is really fun too.
Yeah,
she has that ridiculous 5A pressure that you can kind of just keep doing on people.
Yeah. No, that game, people really scuff like when you say Persona. Like if they're on the outside looking in, but people don't really know, like, man, Persona on high level will blow out like a lot of these games out of the water when you watch Persona on high level. It's just like, man, you just don't know what you're looking at. Like, but that game is sick, and people are just like, whatever, Guilty Gear, BlazBlue. It's like, okay, whatever.
I actually didn't know much about those games till the newer ones because I only played like Persona 4 and a bit of 3. I haven't beat 3. And that game pissed me off, but I haven't beat 3. So I played Ultimax out of like just sheer curiosity. And I really like the music too.
Right.
And I didn't really get too into BlazBlue or Guilty Gear because I don't know. I just didn't really get too into it. I don't think that there was at the time. It's not as prominent as it is now, I'd say, where people are talking about BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. But back then it was like I didn't really hear much about them. So I was just kind of, when I first started out, I was just kind of buying fighting games just to try them out. And I forgot to mention, but I used to play a lot of Smash, man. Like, so I came from like a Smash background, and I got tired of that game. I got pissed a lot, man. I didn't think that I was that kind of person, man. But when I played man, I could feel that low tier salt just coming in, man. And when I would play Smash, dude, I would get so angry. I remember one time I just threw the controller across the room. I'd get so pissed off playing that game. And I wanted to try something harder that was more like rewarding, because I would say that like there's a lot of like, I guess you could say cheese in the competitive atmosphere of Smash games. Right. That isn't so much the case in like fighting games, because you have to like grind to figure out a lot of that cheese. But in Smash, it's like you could just kind of get it, because all it is a bunch of simple button inputs. So I started playing more of that. I got really into Skullgirls too. I was really loving Skullgirls. The game was real hard too for me at the time. I couldn't do combos. I couldn't do anything. It was so hard for me. Now it's like this is all easy. And I play a little. I got into a little bit of Darkstalkers. I was really liking that game. It was much easier, and since at the time I wasn't too into Ultra Street Fighter. I wanted to get too into it, but I didn't get too into it at the time. And by the time I got into it, it was kind of like already just dying. Yeah. And this was right around when Street Fighter 5 was coming out. And I got so pissed off, man, when I got Street Fighter 5. I dropped a video on my YouTube channel. I was like, I can't. This game sucks dick, man. I can't stand this game. There's nothing in this game, man. Oh man, I was so pissed. And then I ended up somehow dropping like 500 hours in the game, and now I'm just like, I'm just full of regret.
Oh, man.
But I will say that Street Fighter taught me some stuff that you kind of don't get playing really fast games. Like it teaches you kind of like how to anti-air. Like anti-airing was a big thing I started learning, because I was like, I don't anti-air at all, dude. I either just get hit or I catch them in the air before they caught me. So that was one thing that I really learned well from Street Fighter. But outside of that, man, I didn't meet a lot of cool people in the Discords that I was in, man. But outside of that, Street Fighter is like, I'm really sad about 5, man. I wish it was like amazing, dude. Like, but it wasn't. It was pretty bad on release, and I paid full price. Man. And then I couldn't even get the refund because I let the game sit there for too long. And then it was like, Steam is like, nah, you can't get your refund after 3 hours. I'm like, oh man, dude, $60 down the drain, man.
Well, to its credit, like Street Fighter 5 now is way better of a product than Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, man. Now it is. But see, the thing is that like every time I try it, like the last time I tried it, oh man, that netcode is just ass, man. Like that netcode is impossible to really function through, because if it was like doable netcode, I think that game would be like, I'd play it more. But there's so many times where you're playing that and everybody just starts teleporting all over the damn place. So it's like, nah, I'm good, man.
That's the bad side of rollback. Like,
yeah, man, that's the monkey's paw right there, man.
No kidding. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I want to get more into Skullgirls, but man, there's just too much stuff to do on the content creation side. That's like, I don't find myself playing fighting games anymore. I just like, if I play a fighting game, like right now I'm playing Plus R, I'm not playing that for fun. I'm just playing it for a review. Like, that's how I'm thinking about it.
I actually, like, I played, like, I got into Rev 2 because I started getting into the scene. Because I didn't start getting into like the locals here till I was like, I think like 2 years ago. So I started getting into my actual locals because I was just basically an online player. So I just played all online. And then I started going into locals. And here they play a lot of the Salem Smash Fest. I want to take a shout out to those guys because they're really cool over there. They play a lot of weed games, though. That's their problem. I love those guys, but God, man, you guys just play weed games. I made fun of them, though. I was like, God, man, we're going to get weed. You know, we might as well just pull out the Melty setup, man, because we can go all the way. But they played a lot of Guilty Gear. Yeah, man, it is. They played a lot of Guilty Gear Rev, and I got really into that. And then I played Plus R with a friend online, and I was like, whoa, this game has so much more than Rev 2 that it's like, I'm like, why are people not even playing it? And then I realized that I think it's something to do with how bad the netcode is on Plus R.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. Playing a game for review is way different to play a game to just having fun with it and trying to experiment. It's a little different of a process, but hopefully I'll be done with that next week.
Yeah, man. I heard because I saw your Melty review, and then you started mentioning the moon phases or whatever they're called. I forget what they're called. Moon and then files. I got confused.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is this man talking about?
That was the cool thing about reviewing Melty. I've been spectating Melty for years now. And the crazy part is I never really knew what I was looking at because I never played Melty. And reviewing that game really taught me a lot about the system and made me appreciate that game way more. I gave Melty, I think, like a 9.4, and I gave Ultimax an 9.1 or an 8.8. I forgot what I gave it. But like when it comes to, so when I review games, like I put gameplay as like number one. Like I don't really care what you look like or the soundtrack or like the
That's so true.
like gameplay for me.
Fun, though?
That's how you review a fighting game, in my opinion. Like this is an IGN. This is my channel. So like I make the rules. So I put gameplay above everything else. If your gameplay sucks, then the game probably sucks.
Yeah, dude, exactly. And I like that. Melty Blood is like one of those games where I played a little bit of it. I got really into it. I don't like how they have to like play the game though, because it's via like their caster. And man, I'd say that thing is like almost better than GGPO, man.
It's
when
really
I played it. Yeah, man, but like I don't really like trading my IPS, you know what I'm saying? They just be dropping their IPs over there. I'm like, oh man, I'm not really down with that, dude. But so yeah, I can definitely say that Skullgirls is definitely one of those games where it's like a time sink, but I personally have only been really getting back into fighting games because I stopped for a while, like because I started not liking how they are producing them. I saw like, especially like for instance, Grand Blue was one of those games. Cross Tag, they were producing games, but like it was half the content or not even all the content, and it started kind of killing my enjoyment of fighting games. So I honestly just started getting into the gym, man. I started pumping iron, man.
Nice.
I started really enjoying that, but then like because of the quarantine, all the gyms are kind of open now, but I'm not gonna risk it, man. I'm not gonna get Rona and then just be out there in the bed all day. But yeah, man. So now I'm kind of getting back into it, but all I'm really playing is Skullgirls because like everything else kind of just sucks in terms of like netcode and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's a good game to play while you're stuck inside.
Yeah, man, exactly, dude.
Well, yeah, man. Hopefully we have enough time to cover all this, but man, what a week. What a week.
Yeah, man. I was like, I would just wake up, check my phone, man. I would like go on Twitter for like a couple of minutes. Cause like I use Twitter really mostly for like jokes. Like I just love seeing stupid, funny stuff. Like man, at this point, I don't even like cats that much, man. I'd rather see cat memes than what I'm seeing right now, man. Cause there's just been so much like I'm looking at twit longers like they're bombs now, dude. Like I'm like
I was like, I put out a tweet, like just a meme tweet every time.
I think I saw that. I was like, bro.
I was like, every time I see another tweet line, I was like, there's more?
Yeah. I can't even, because I remember one time I used it, but it was because my situation at home wasn't so good. But then I'm like thinking in my head, like, damn, I can't even use it for like good. Because people are going to be like, why are you doing that? Use it. Like, I'm like, oh man, I try not to, I honestly don't go ever out of my way to respond to any of that stuff or reply, or I just like reading it and be like, damn, or I talk about it in like Discord servers, but I don't really like putting my opinion that much out there, especially with all this stuff, because it's a lot of like bad stuff, man.
Yeah, it really is. You know, actually, before we get the whole drama thing, I just want to recognize, or I guess send my best wishes to Knuckle Dude, because, you know, he got into that car crash. Man. It almost got buried there within the shuffle. So, like, I'm
glad it didn't, dude. I'm glad it didn't, man. I'm not sure if there was any information, but I was just like, man, I hope he doesn't have his kids on that ride, dude.
I don't know. So I actually met, I used to live down in South Florida for a couple of years. So I met Knuckle Dude once. He's actually like a really cool dude.
Oh, you live in South Florida, though?
Yeah, I used to live in Fort Lauderdale back in like 2016.
Oh, wow, man. I used to live in Miami, dude.
Oh, sick.
Man, I was living in Miami till like just around that time, actually. Like I went after I got the Marine Corps, I went back to Miami, lived there till like 2018 or 17 around there, and I moved.
Damn, I left in 2017. I left Fort Lauderdale in 2017.
The place sucks, dude.
Yeah, dude, man.
Fort Lauderdale sucks too, man.
Yeah, I say this about South Florida, like, what a great place to visit. Fuck living there though. Like,
yeah, man. Oh my god, dude. Like, I can't count how many times I've had a pizza delivery dude not know English and expect a tip, bro. Like, hell no, man.
Yeah, it was. I had my bike stolen. It was the worst.
Dude, yep. Yeah, man, that place sucks, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the weather because, I mean, you got the beach right there and it's nice. But
I hate that weather, man.
Yeah,
it's bad on hot days, like on real hot days, so like summer. Too. Oh, dude, it's super bad, man.
Yeah, it's bad, but yeah, Florida is weird. But anyway, I met Knuckle Dude once. He was really cool. So hearing that he got into that car crash, from what I understand, like, he's stable, but he's gonna have like a long road to recovery. So, you know, best wishes to him and his family. And I'm not a religious guy at all, but, you know, for anybody that's listening, if you are, now would probably be a good opportunity or appropriate time to send some prayers his way because he probably needs it. So
yeah, man, keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your prayers. Yeah, man, from what I've seen, and I guess from your interaction as well, from you told me he sounds like an okay dude, a good dude. So
he's chill. Yeah,
it sucks, man. Yeah, man. Those car crashes, stuff like that is sometimes things I actually worry about all the time when I'm just driving. Because I mean, I've seen dudes get their cars hit when they're not in the parking lot.
No
so
kidding.
like it's pretty scary sometimes.
And Florida drivers are nuts too.
Oh man, dude, I would tell my girlfriend because I'm over here in Oregon now, and they drive so much better, man. Oh man, dude, Miami drivers, man, Florida drivers, bro. South Florida, I would say, man, dude, I became a monster. I had so much road rage, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I-95 is, you better be careful.
oh my god, how many people would get hit on I-95, dude? I-95 was scary, man, because you have so much like immigrants driving with no insurance or anything, man. So then I remember I had a conversation with like my ex-stepdad and stuff like that. I had a conversation with him, and he said that it's not that they learn how to drive in their countries, is that they learn how to drive here, and then they don't like take like any exams. And then I took a driver's test out there, and it wasn't even that hard. So I can kind of see where it all comes together. It's really bad, dude.
The worst part about South Florida, just from living there for a couple of years, is that when you get on the road, it's a mix, right? Because you have the, obviously you have the immigrants that are there for work. You have people that come from the Northeast, like New York and New Jersey, and you know how those guys drive. They're used to driving in like those big cities, so they drive crazy. And then you have snowbirds that come there for vacation, that they drive like Midwesterners. And then you have all the retirees that don't fucking move anything because they're like 80 years old. So the road is so crazy. Like, it's just like,
it's congested.
And you have spring breakers upon, like, oh my God.
That works too, man.
It's insane. It's such a melting pot, and it's just like, it's the worst stew you've ever had in your life.
Man, I definitely did not like driving out there, man. It put me on edge, man. I became so like on edge when I drive here in Oregon, where it's like people in Oregon, they like let you pass and stuff, but I'm so on edge sometimes when I'm driving. Like it doesn't go away, man.
No, it don't. Yeah, it's rough.
It don't go away, man. So I can definitely see how something like that can happen to Knuckle Dude, especially in South Florida. Man. That place is just wild, man.
Yeah, it's rough. So hopefully he's doing okay. So, but man, there's a lot to recap.
Man.
And I wrote a bunch of stuff here, and I'm probably gonna read this off. And if you can correct me on anything that you think is wrong, just feel free to interrupt, because I don't know if I have all my facts here together, but hopefully. For people
pretty hard to get the facts.
Yeah, exactly. But for people who aren't on Twitter or FGC Twitter, which you know how I feel about FGC Twitter, I hate it. It's the worst ever. I really only use it to try to communicate with people, like, come on the podcast, or just to see like FGC memes or news or stuff like that. That's what I use it for.
Yeah, man.
This whole weekend, and really, so it started, I would say maybe like about a week ago. You had, and I think it was like June 22nd, right?
Yeah, I think around there.
June 22nd, because I don't know, because she deleted the tweets, but Bunny Ayu, whom, the FGC would probably know best for being featured in that Majan Obama video on how Guilty Gear Strive beta appeals to casuals and, the things they want to do, and how the community taught her the number pad notation and stuff like that. She's a big Twitch streamer, and she's like a former model of some sort, and now she's just streaming. I don't know.
I heard she's a grauver. I don't know how you say that word. Grauver. Basically one of those, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to say the word, but I did hear she's one of those kind of models.
Oh, yeah. She used to do like sexy modeling for a while. Yeah. And she retired. Now she's streaming. So to like the general audience, I'm sure she's really more famous. But to FGC, like, I didn't know anything about her because, I mean, I never venture into that space. So
I didn't know who she was either.
The only reason I knew who she was is because of Obama, right? Mm-hmm. So on June 22nd, right, she puts out a tweet saying something like along the lines of, "I've been sexually harassed by a major content creator in the FGC. So I won't be talking about fighting games on stream," or something like that.
Yeah.
Everybody, on Twitter is just like, "Oh shit, who is it?" She's a content creator or creator of some sort, right? Mm-hmm. Now, something that got lost in the shuffle that with the last, 3 days or 4 days got lost in the shuffle is that before this whole thing exploded, Nyx Rose, Emily from Equinox, I don't know if you saw her tweet or twit longer.
I think I seen it.
She actually came out with the first one where she was accusing somebody who was like on the production side. His name is like Shark something. He has like an Indian sounding name, like
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I didn't know how to say that name either.
Yeah.
Alphabet soup, dude.
Yeah. It was like Shark. But anyway, she kept referring to him as Shark. So that was like the first accusation of basically him constantly harassing her at events and, multiple conversations and stuff. So she came out with that first allegation of this guy on production side who did a lot of things for events, kept harassing her, right?
Yeah.
4 days ago, which by the way feels like an eternity now, knowing what we know now.
Oh man, dude, it's like bombs everywhere.
Yeah. So 4 days ago, Bunny Ayu comes out on Twitter saying, I will no longer be playing Skullgirls. By the way, she spelled Skullgirls 2 words, like skull and girls. Which, okay.
Oh yeah, man, I do that too actually sometimes. And I'll play the game.
Oh man. So she said the creator Mike was incredibly disrespectful in DMs and made me feel uncomfortable. So she shared the screenshots to the public, and she told Combo Queens, right? You're looking at the DMs, and first of all, it starts with Bunny. She started the conversation with Mike, right? She sent Mike the first DM.
Yeah, man, that was like she pretty much set the precedence in a way. Yeah, she set the tone. Yeah, man.
So the first DM, she starts off the DM with saying, and all these DMs, they're out there in the wild. So if anybody thinks that I'm making all this shit up, like I'm not, you can go check. The tapes are there.
Yeah, they put it definitely out there.
So the first message she sends Mike is, thanks for making a video game where there's a BDSM Yuri, which, okay.
Yeah. I actually didn't know much about that. Like, I've been playing the game for years, but
I guess it's the story mode with Eliza.
Yeah, I actually don't play the story mode. I'm one of those dudes, man.
Yeah, well, nobody that plays fighting games ever plays the story mode. It's not what we're in for.
Right? That's true. It's true.
So, Mike responds saying like, okay, I'm glad you enjoy it, ? And Mike, he's just an awkward dude. Like,
so I do want to, sorry to cut you off, but I do want to say one thing. The way he kind of types is the way he kind of types on his patch notes.
Yeah.
So like the way he was talking to her is kind of like how he'll type in his patch notes. He'll do like a lot of weird dots, exclamation stuff here, there, question marks, faces. I'm like, what the hell am I looking at sometimes with his patch notes? But
his communication is pretty awkward, and I can admit to that. Even when I invited him on the podcast, like his communication with me was kind of awkward. So I was just like, hey man, the dude is just kind of quirky. It's fine. But anyway, it got to the point where, he responds kind of weirdly, and he had questions he wanted to ask her, but he said he wouldn't. but she said, hey, don't worry, whatever, ask away, it's all good. And he asks, some weird questions, but she says, don't worry, it's all good. It's a part of I've been doing, cosplay and like sexy modeling for a long time. So thirst is, human nature. So I don't mind, talking about this stuff. So right there, she admits to liking that sort of culture, like hentai artists and all that stuff. So I don't know. And when I saw that, I was just like, well, you're kind of setting the tone right there. So Mike, Mike responded with some weird shit. I'm not going to condone that. Like, listen, it was weird. Whatever he said,
it was weird.
That was some weird shit. Like,
yeah, man, it was pretty weird, dude. It's pretty weird.
But I'll say this. Listen, at the end of the day, they're both weird in my book. She started weird and he ended weird. Like,
that's a good way to look. Because in my head, I was thinking, man, I didn't get it. Like when I first read through it, I was like, I don't get it. Like, is this worth for one thing? Whatever happened to DMs being private? God damn it! Like, why can't we keep this to ourselves?
Exactly. Yeah.
And another thing is that it definitely was weird. We can I wouldn't in a way. It's like if somebody talked to me like that, I wouldn't care personally. But I can understand if somebody gets kind of uncomfortable with someone talking to them like that. And I feel like if that's the case, especially in a setting where you're kind of safeguarded, it's a Twitter chat, man. You can tell somebody anything basically and not really have to worry so much about anything. You could tell somebody, hey man, I feel very uncomfortable with what you're saying. And I could have, stopped it. But instead it was one of those kind of knee-jerk reactions where it's like, I don't feel good with this. I'm just going to put it out there. And it's like, damn, dude, like a part of me is like, one thing people might not take from that is that it almost feels like it's somebody that you can't really trust talking to behind closed doors if they're just going to put all that information of you talking to them out there, which is one thing people may not notice. And another thing is, hey, man, you kind of invited that weird, conversation, man. So it's like, hey, if you're going to ask weird, you're going to get weird.
So that's what I was saying. And listen, like, it's all good. People don't think I'm not victim blaming here. Like, I'm just telling you how I feel about the thing. Like, And I've lost, we lost a solid member of the Discord because he,
yeah, man, RIP, dude. We got a spot for you, though.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Hey, he's welcome back anytime. So that's how I felt. Like, all of a sudden you're offended and said that, he's harassing you. So I don't know, whatever. Like, she puts the shit online, these screenshots, and you got to think, like, she has 700,000 Twitter followers. And they blow the shit out of proportion. I'm talking like white knighting, simping, like hardcore, like people digging up Mike Z awkward text messages and shit he said in the past.
Hey, that's what happens, man. Yeah.
Like some dude that used to work for Lab Zero all of a sudden comes out and says all this shit about Mike, and everybody and their mother just comes out piling on the hate train, going after Mike Z. Let's cancel this dude. So I was just like, come on, this is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
So then, was it Combo Queens came out, put out a statement, and Sharpie, who's, she's one of those figureheads for the Skullgirls community, she comes out saying, Mike Z is done. He's banned from the tournament for the time being. I think it was like a 2-year ban.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years.
Yeah, he can't like associate with the game. He can't commentate. He's basically canceled for 2 years. And I saw Combo Breaker took the Skullgirls community signatures and all that, and they banned him for 2021. Meanwhile, everyone is, cuddling Bunny. She's like, wow, you're so brave. Thank you for taking a stand. And I was like, wait a second. Take a stand for what? Like, the dude is weird, but you just made it so much worse, in my opinion. And you know what I'm more disappointed in is the hypocrisy and the FGC. And listen, I won't name names, man, because you know how I feel about that. Like, I fuck around.
It gets dirty when you do that. It gets kind of grimy.
Yeah, one of my rules is like I keep it classy, right? Like I'm pretty outspoken, but like I'll keep it classy when I have to, even though sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah, man.
But I fuck around a lot, and I'll be like, Hollywood this, Hollywood that. But man, let me tell you, when I say Hollywood, I'm kind of joking, but also I'm not joking. Like, there's
always an air of truth to every joke, man.
There's a clique in the FGC, and I saw a lot of people coming down on Mike Z when I thought they had his back because they used to hang out in those same circles, and I was like, oh, word? You were supposed on supposed good terms, or you were close to him or whatever, and you turned his back on him. And, and I'll say this now, like on the record, the FGC failed Mike Z. They failed him. That was a sacrificial lamb right there. And I was just like, how is it? Yeah, I was like, how is it that I've had 3 conversations with the guy? I don't even know him that well. And one of those conversations was on air. And why am I the one batting for this dude? Just for the sense of like what I think is justice. Why am I batting for this guy when all you guys who are supposed to be his friends are willing to just sacrifice him just so people don't come after you? I was just like, how hypocritical is that? Like, that's not what friends do. That's not what good people do. Yeah, man.
So I do want to so what I'll add to this though, and this is because I was actually pretty salty for like 2 days straight about the Mike Z stuff, man. The thing is that I will say, because I always give people the benefit of doubt, and we always kind of want to look at it both ways, there might have been a lot of things Mike Z has done, but this is the thing too, though, because we're only seeing it from what they're showing us.
Yeah.
So we can only get as much information.
That's what I'm reacting to.
Giving us. Yeah, man. And what they've given us is almost like, to me personally, that's not enough, dude. Like that isn't necessarily enough. That's somebody that I feel like if you could have just been like, yo, man, stop doing that, you retard, or stop doing that, you idiot, or whatever. You tell them that. Then it's like, okay, stop doing that. And you got to explain to them why that's the issue and talk to them and get level with them. And so that's one thing I will say, like, I'm from what I've seen, I don't really agree with it at all. But I think I've also tried looking for more, though, personally, because I was like, there must have been more things he done specifically that instigated such a group of people to just pretty much say, screw this guy. And I feel like there may just be more, and we're not seeing it. From what I see, I don't think it's not enough.
I think this is what it is. And like, people aren't going to like to listen to hear this.
Go ahead.
But, I'm going to say this. You want to condone Mike Z for something, you ban him for that I can't breathe comment. I'm fine with that. That was worse. Like,
I think, like, personally, me, I think that was just a really bad joke. Because he could have said that at any point in time. That isn't now, and it would have been like whatever, but it was just a bad joke setting.
Well,
he tried to double down on it. That was the real problem.
Yeah, it was bad. But I'm saying, like, you want to ban the guy for something, that's the appropriate action. But you're telling me that making a comment about a dead man who couldn't defend himself from corrupted cops gets you a pass, but awkwardly flirting online with the chick that has over 700,000 simps on her side does not? Like, I mean, come on, get the fuck out of here. Like, you either ban him for the real shit or you don't ban him for none of it. Like, you don't get the pick because all of a sudden you're putting more, people are putting more pressure on you. Like, the chick admitted to playing Skullgirls a total of 3 times, and all of a sudden she's like, I'm done with Skullgirls forever. It's like, man.
Oh, and I want to say one thing too. She did apologize afterwards. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
she did apologize afterwards, and she was like, I could have went about this a better way. And I'm like, man, it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was on June 30th, right? She comes out saying, hey, Mike apologized to me. I should have handled this differently. Let's move forward. And now, I don't know if you noticed, but people are hating on her. Like, FGC people are going in her comments and being like, just saying terrible shit to her and digging up stuff on her. So I was just like, man, who wins here? Like, Mike
nobody
lost,
knows.
Bunny lost, the FGC lost. I mean, the simps are the only ones that won. Like, they ain't gonna
get nothing though, because it's just simping, man. You don't get nothing on the internet.
It's such a bad look. And this was before like the shit really hit the fan. But the amount of respect the FGC lost just with that interaction. And I was just like, and listen, Bunny lost respect too. Like, it was a bad deal. But you know what? I was thinking about this today. If anything good happened out of this whole thing, is that it did open the floodgates and it allowed more people to come out and tell their stories. That is
true.
Which, by the way, are way worse than Mike Z.
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, but if it was the case of like, we're pretty much saying what's the worst out of this, and all like Mike Z's is like up there and like this ain't even that bad. If we were comparing, it would be like, man, is he really that bad? Like compared to what all has happened.
Mike Z, after these last 3 days, he's got to be sipping tea, being like, hey, I guess what I did wasn't nearly as bad as the sentence that some of these.
Yeah, dudes. Man. Oh, dude, no, man.
I didn't even catch it all, but there's so many.
And I feel like there's gonna be many more.
Yeah, there's way more. So I wrote down a list of the ones I did catch. So I split them up, right? So FGC and Smash, and so hopefully I don't say some of these names wrong, because I don't know much about Smash, so hopefully I don't pronounce them wrong. But just let's start with the FGC part, right? So obviously we know about Emily accusing Shark, right, on the production side. Mike Z had his thing with Bunny, and then Shinku, who he plays Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, I think.
I think I've seen that dude before. Yeah,
he accused his ex-girlfriend called Nines a Phantomu or something like that. And eventually it turned out that he's a creep himself, which was hilarious. The fact that, this dude is saying, this is what happened to me. And 2 days later, he's like, you see his twit longer. He's like, I apologize for my mistakes.
Right.
It's
everybody
like, are you
kind of shooting themselves in the foot too on that one. They'd be hilarious. Like, yeah, I messed up.
And then people then started talking about when all these accusations came out. So you have Smash, you had KT Prominent, I don't know what her name was. She accused D1, right?
Man, the Smash side is like really a problem though. That's that's like some like real stuff. That's like, damn, dude, y'all gotta fix yourselves, man.
And what was it? Nairo? Is it Nairo or Nairo?
Yeah, it's Nairo, yeah.
Nairo,
man.
Or Captain Zach, and then
it was Nairo and Captain Zach on that end. I think I know the names, but there's like a huge list of them, so I don't know what you got.
It was Keitaro and
Keitaro,
Shiva, and that had to do with basically underage drinking.
Yeah, man.
One of the big ones is it Senpai?
Oh, Cinepai, yeah,
Cinepai, yeah. Sorry, I don't know any of these Smash names.
Their names are so. Yeah, Cinepai supposedly had the interaction with the sexual altercation with the 14-year-old.
Yeah, with I think it's Pape or something like that.
And I don't know if you have this one, but did you hear about Zero, man?
Yeah, Zero I heard about today.
Yeah, he just said, I did some messed up junk, man.
Apparently a girl named Katie and another girl named Jizu, and there was another unnamed girl, and then a couple others that named they named D1 again and Keitaro, and one of them named Noel Brown. I was like, well, yeah, that's not surprising. So I was like, okay,
yeah, man.
And then Auntie, He got
I think that was it, man.
He got in trouble with, I guess, like a 15-year-old. So I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, what is going on with all the underage?
His case is trippy too. Like, it's supposedly that he talked to a girl through Tinder, and she was like, "I'm 18," and he was like, "All right, cool." And then he went out with her, and then he did all this weird stuff. You know, he was pretty much hanging out with her, and then come to find out she was like, I'm actually 15, and then supposedly she lied about her age though. So that's like what I've gathered. But
I think he's got more accusations in him than just that one.
Oh man, dude, that's worse than I don't know about that.
Yeah, from what I saw on there, like there's a bunch of like Snapchat receipts. Whatever. It's bad. Like it's bad.
We got once they pull out the Snapchat receipts, that stuff's supposed to delete itself afterwards. So like, god damn.
The two big ones that followed back to back was people were saying, hey, how about, all be these people coming out. How about you investigate Evo 2019's after party? Because I guess those drinks were already poured and people were roofing that shit.
Oh, yeah. I remember that case, man.
And when that came out, that's when all of a sudden Watson went on Twitter and he said, you guys are doing a good job about, exposing these fools, but you got your biggest dude who's like one of the worst people on earth. And he's right underneath your nose. And that's when Mikey came out about Mr. Wizard. And that was like the biggest thing, right? Like,
that was like the game changer. But a part of me is like, I'm not too surprised. I think there's like the whole part of FGC where we're like, yeah, we kind of knew who's bad anyways. This just kind of puts the icing on the cake.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, like I like Watson, and I always thought he was cool. I always thought he's one of those guys, especially in the LA circle, which hey, when I was talking about Hollywood, like that LA circle, there's some dudes there like I don't trust at all. Like I don't care, FGC smash whatever. Like I don't mess with those dudes.
I definitely understand it, man.
But he was one of those guys that I always thought that always had the FGC's back as far as like grassroots. So I always liked Watson, and I actually knew about these stories, not name or verbatim or whatever, but he's told these stories on stream before. He just didn't say who the victim was or like who it really pertained to because he didn't want to put them out there. So I guess technically, I'm part of the problem too, because everybody knew the Mr. Wizard was fucked up, but nobody said anything. So until a couple days ago, obviously. But when he came out and eventually you have the name out there, what happened, everybody was just like, oh shit. Like the cat's out of the bag. And here's the problem I have with that, Southern California circle. And you can tell, like, you can go check who I'm following on Twitter and who like I'm talking about. Because I don't follow the people who I'm referring to, but a lot of those guys knew what was happening, accuse other people, and I guarantee you there's grime on those guys too. It just hasn't come out yet.
Oh my God. And so that's the wild thing about it. It's getting to the point where nobody want to trust nobody, right? Mm-hmm. One thing I want to say, and this is probably like one thing nobody ever wants to hear. And I would even say to myself, like, even I'm capable of doing the worst things possible. And like that, like, cause like I've seen people say, oh, these dudes are monsters, man. Monsters. I'm like, yo, man, they just another side of the coin you don't want to look at, man. Cause these are the people that's like the most human, darkest thing you could do to like, what are these like these predators basically doing to some of these people? That's like the most human thing possible. Because it's like in a way also so I was like going through our COPPA and I found these dudes talking about like the Zero and all that stuff. And there was one dude that mentioned, hey man, where do you think Zero learned this? He learned it from like this guy named Pierce, who had sexual allegations of how he was being weird to females and stuff like that. And it's like, well, he was his coach at the time, so he was coaching Zero. Like, so who knows, man? Maybe he learned it from this dude, and that's where it all pretty much kind of like starts in a way. They like learn some of those behaviors and stuff like that, and it kind of puts perspective. It puts it into perspective where it's like you can't really forget that like a lot of those dudes can definitely do some messed up stuff, and it can happen.
Yeah, the problem I have with that circle specifically, and I think there's like 15 to 20 people in that circle, right?
Yeah.
And it's dwindled down. It's that the fact that one, I mean, they ain't loyal to nobody. You saw what they did to Mike Z. Like, technically Mike Z is in that circle, right? He's in LA. He's been developing Skullgirls for a long time, and they turned his back on him. They'll turn their back on all those dudes if it'll save them for a little longer. So they know what's up. And I'll also say this on the record. You remember when Mike Ross left the FGC and he's just like, I don't like the way things have been happening lately? And
yeah, man,
it's just like, I wonder why that dude left,
bro.
Yeah, he's like,
he knew something, man. That's what we gotta get Mike. We gotta get Mike on the podcast, man, because he knew something, man.
And it's so interesting.
Mike hold the key.
Yeah, he's just like, He's like, listen, there are snakes here. I don't like the way things are happening. There's backdoor operations, and there's all these deals happening. And he's like, I'm out, And he was talking about, obviously, he was talking about shit happening down in Twitch, which, I mean, that's NorCal. But also he was talking about all the shit that was happening in backdoor dealings in SoCal with that circle. And I was just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But long story short, whatever, like these games start dropping, right? Like all of a sudden, Main 6 comes out. It's like Them's Fighting Herds, Night at Evo, KI, Mortal Kombat. All these games are just like, nah, we're good. So Mr. Wizard is removed.
Yeah, man.
And then they basically canceled the event, right? After all these people, I was like, I'm not going to commentate.
Yo, RIP, dude. Yeah. I was so looking forward for I was like, yo, man, finally, I'm about to get up in there, man. I've been grinding for the last couple of years, man. It's my time to shine. And then you hear that, and it's like, yeah, I'm not shining out there, man. No thanks.
Man. So now we're recording this on July 4th. Happy Independence Day.
Yeah, man.
But what are your thoughts on like? So do you think that now that all the cat's out of the bag, everybody's out there with their dirty laundry? Or at least a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are out there. Do you think that there's going to be like a major overhaul as far as tournament standard and practices, or perhaps guideline or rules?
I kind of would hope so in a way too. But the problem with a lot of that stuff is that we as humans, and this is something I'll even say happened a lot in the Marine Corps when I was over there, we'd knee jerk our reactions. So like when we see something bad, we have to immediately do something about it. And then it comes down to the point where we're not thinking too much and planning ahead of it. Like right now, I had some dude in our scene actually, man, and he's in the list of the Smash players, dude. And I was like, come on, man. He ended up doing some weird stuff with a younger person too, man. Yeah, man. So like we are definitely setting some stuff up kind of to figure out like to safeguard these people. But at the same time, no matter like we could take the best measures possible. And I think that's what we should be doing, especially since it's like such huge events. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, statistically speaking, if we were just talking about numbers, there's bound to be a weirdo, man. There's bound to be a predator. There's bound to be you might even get a murder or two in there, man. And it might just be like, it's just one of those things where you have to play like the average in the game, especially like Evo, where it just brings so much random people too, people that don't even play fighting games. And I think that like the overhaul type of thing, especially with how they're doing it, could be good, but it also could be bad depending on how they go about it. Because if we go too emotionally about these type of things, it may just, hit us in the back of the head and be like, damn, we went too crazy with it. So it's like, it's one of those things where we have to go through it with a strong form of understanding, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one of the biggest and hardest things is that we're so emotional as humans, so that when we get presented something we hate, it's like, oh, hell no, you want to do something about it, but we got to like think rationally as hell, man. We have to like kind of like fight against that stuff. So I really hope, because it's definitely like all this stuff happening there's definitely going to be some changes. I would even say there's some changes even plus after like the Corona thing too, man. There's probably going to be some weird changes after that. I'm thinking Mad Max is about to happen, man. Like, I'm about to start fighting out the house with a machine gun, man.
Oh, man. You know what I saw, and shout outs to Zio in the Discord, in the Hollywood Discord.
Yeah, man.
Which, by the way, everybody should join because we got some cool people in there. But,
hey, FGC Hollywood. Let's go.
But did you see LTG said, hey, unban me and Ceroblast? and Zio on Twitter was just like, hey, just because there's another bigger piece of shit doesn't make you a less of a piece of shit.
Yo, low-tier God, low-key, he holding the truth too, man.
Yeah.
A part of me is like, how is it that low-tier God is looking better than a lot of the people you trusted?
Isn't that
That's
wild?
The wild thing. Yeah, man. That's why I say that people are so human, they sometimes don't even get it. Like, it's like, dude, the people you think you may know, that's how good people sometimes can get too, man. Somebody can be so good that you'll never know that they're one of the people you shouldn't be around.
Yeah.
That's like how good you get, man.
That's wolves in sheep clothing, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I heard that word today too, man. I heard that one today too. It really is, man.
Someone on the outside looking in, I wonder how badly, or maybe it'll be good because people see that when maybe we're taking care of this stuff, but if you're on the outside looking in and you're seeing all this stuff in the FGC, I wonder if that will give people trepidation to try out fighting games, because you know how people would like to paint the whole FGC with like the same wide brush. It's like, well, they're all predators or they all suck.
Yeah, man. It's one of those cases where, it's like you get 100 handshakes and you'll always remember the dude that slaps you. And that's one of our biggest problems as humans in general, dude. We don't remember the 100 handshakes. We're always looking at the dude that gave us the slap in the neck, man.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope, because there's such good in the scene.
Yeah, man, there is, man. I mean, my local scene is awesome, dude. We're all friends, man. We're all having a good time, and we all hang out. But like, yeah, a couple of bad eggs can really ruin everything for a lot of people. And
Right.
it's true because I would also say that when we're trying to pretty much like cook those people and show them that we hate them, it brings out more hate. And with the more and more hate, we can't really bring in any love, man. Yeah, man, we'll hate this dude for what he did, and we can vilify him all day long, but we gotta check ourselves too, man.
For sure. Yeah, and listen, nobody, that includes you and me, like nobody doesn't have
Man.
I got skeletons in my closet. I don't have those skeletons in my closet, but like I got
hell not, man. I got those skeletons.
But I've raged before, and I'm sure I said some bad shit on the internet before.
Yeah, man.
Whether or not you can find it or not, like everybody's got a history or a past,
right?
But it just depends on how big, and also depends on how willing you are to just admit that you fucked up and reform, right?
Yeah, man.
Nobody's perfect, but I hope this whole movement of like cleanse the FGC, I like the idea, but like we also have to be
execution, man.
Yeah, the execution is very important because I mean, shit, I wish we had more time, but that could be a whole nother episode,
Yeah, hey man, you can always bring me out. Hey, anytime you ain't got somebody, sure. I got you, dude.
Actually, before we get out of here, I have a rapid fire for you. That would be
go ahead.
So, a game that doesn't have good netcode that you wished got rolled back.
Persona, man. Any day of the week, dude. Nice. Any day of the week, if I could, it would definitely be Persona, man. That's just one of those games that really needed it. Like, I mean, they pretty much stopped caring about it, especially after 2.0, because they didn't even bring that to the States, which hurt like hell.
Yeah, they didn't even bring the console.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. It just stays. It's on PS3 and Xbox 360. That's like come on, man. How hard is that? Like, no one got those things anymore, man. They dumped that. So, I mean, it would be godlike if they could just put. I thought with the Atlas announcement, they were gonna. I really was praying. I had my fingers crossed. We was about to get like Persona 4 Ultimax on Steam. That'd be godlike. But we got Persona 4, and I was like, I don't really care about the game, man. It's on PS2, man. It's cheaper there.
Well, maybe one day, but yeah,
maybe one day, dude. Maybe one day. Well, I'll shoot another one at you right quick.
Sure.
I'd probably want one of the KOF games, man. I really wanted to try KOF, but that netcode was terrible. Mm-hmm. And when I went on KOF, nobody plays that game. They dropped KOF after like a week, man. And unless you're like living in China or Brazil or some poor country for some reason, because the cabinets were cheaper out there, you ain't gonna get nobody to play that game with, man. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to do something with the netcode. I remember I talked to Hell Pockets last week. I was just like, how is it that we got all these older games, Code Mystics, man, these older games, but you got 13, 14 out there, and Sam Show with just the most garbage netcode.
Oh, dude, I was gonna get Sam Show. I was super hyped for it. I never got it though. I'm one of those fake ass fans. It's like, oh man, and then when it drops, oh yeah, my bad. I didn't really buy it like that. I pirate.
yeah. I mean, listen, when I'll buy the shit when it comes to where I want to play it. I said I want Sam Show on PC and I'll play it. But really, when I said PC, like I meant Steam.
We all mean Steam, man.
I didn't mean Epic. Man. I was like, get out of here with that shit.
Might as well just sell physical copies and get it over with.
Yeah, no kidding. What is this? If you could only play one game for a month, could be a fighting game, could be a non-fighting game, what would it be?
Dragon Quest.
11?
I think I just played Dragon Quest my whole life if I could. I'm out here trying to just play Dragon Quest and maybe even like RuneScape or something.
Nice.
I really like those games, man. I'm a big Dragon Quest fan, man. I'm playing like 11 right now, and I'm like loving it again because I had it on Steam, but I haven't really been in front of my computer, so I'm just using the PS4, and I got it cheap for like $20. So I'm like,
nice.
Hell yeah.
What's the one character you hate losing to in a fighting game?
Man, I think in Skullgirls, it'd probably. Oh, actually, you know what? I have a better one because Big Bang is kind of annoying, but not him. I never liked fighting against Adachi in Persona, man. I hated that dude so much. Every fiber in my being, every time they just mash DP, they do that. Like they will do that on your wake up. They will do that on their wake up. They will do that in a combo. They don't give a damn, man. His DP was so annoying, man.
Yeah.
I hated his DP.
And then the spam of 5D and J2D.
Yeah, man, because it's huge ass Persona buttons, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he was so cancer, man. Like I hate fighting him online, man.
Yeah,
he does like he's such an online character, man. He's such an online character, dude.
What's a fighting game you always wanted to play but just never got around to?
KOF, definitely, man. I wish I was around KOF. I wish I was around KO 14 when people were playing it, because I started looking into it and I was like, damn, these mechanics are really interesting, and you get to use like 3 characters, so that's pretty cool. And it's not like a team game, so it's just separate characters. But I really wanted to get into KOF, but nobody plays the game. I went on, I bought that game straight up, and I was like, all right, man. Went online, couldn't find a damn match.
Man,
that was sad, dude.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll end it with this. I know it's been rough out there in the FGC virtual streets. A lot of bad shit happened, and hopefully we can clean some of that. But if you could pitch to someone who has no idea about the FGC or fighting games, if you could tell them one reason to come and check us out, what would it be?
Come and have fun, man. I think that's the biggest thing, man. Out of all the things, like, you can get angry all day long, but as long as you have fun, man, just come and have fun with us, man. We having fun. You can have fun too. Come join us. Forget all that stuff about what you saw on the internet, man. Let's just play some video games, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I wish we could get to a point in the FGC again where it's about the games instead of about the drama.
It ain't even about the fighting games no more, man.
No, man. That's what I got in for. Like, I just love the competition, the environment. Like, it's about the games. I don't care about all this Twitter shit and all this. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. This has been fun.
Yeah, man. Likewise. Definitely had fun, man.
Too bad we didn't have as much time, but I'm sure we can do this again.
Yeah, no worries. There's another time. There's definitely another time.
Yeah.
Happy July 4th.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Happy 4th.